Is the DLLS Cowboys podcast, and looky there, the great and powerful. Most people know him as the co-host of Trust the Tape, a show that is on my personal YouTube channel every Tuesday and Thursday, except today, so it'll be on tomorrow instead. The great and powerful former Cowboy scout from 105.3 The Fan, from Crown Global Media. Make sure you follow that page on YouTube, the Doing All Right podcast with Vach Lombardi. Congratulations on 100,000 subscribers, Vach. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Doing well, boys. I figured out that I can know where I need to go get carpet, and now I need to go get money. So doing great. I figured both those things out. That's great.
Yeah. All the show that you're doing, you raking in some dough. So head on over to Monarch Money, man, and get yourself ready. You know, let them take care of those money things. Make sure you're not spending money frivolously like Jeff.
Yeah. I'm about to buy a pool like Jeff and really go into debt is what I want to do.
23.8 left. We got 23.8K left to pay that bad boy off. We're paying it off $226 a month. Crushing it. Brian, first 2 days of practice, love having you on because now we've got the scout's eye on this thing. And how much do you feel you can learn, and are some positions easier than some others when you are talking about no pads and whatever amount of contact they are having?
Yeah, I think to me, I kind of look at maybe some scheme ideas is what I try and do. I like to see where guys line up. They are having some competitive periods out here, though. It's as Jesse would tell you, it's kind of the 3 hard steps: get into your block, stay off the ground, and see where that thing goes. But there's things they worked on. Obviously, with Dak being under center day one, there was some. They ran the football and they ran it with some success. Day two, they went a little bit more quick game stuff out of their shotgun packages. There were the waggles, the boots, the installations have been. It looks like that's kind of where they want the emphasis of, hey, we are going to try and run the ball, and then, okay, off our running game, let's get into some of our quick game stuff. Defensively, I felt like that day one, defense got gashed a little bit just on 3 hard steps, a block, that kind of thing. There were more spaces, creases, gaps. So that part of it was, defensively was not great. Yesterday, much better. I think that Eberflus said, I'm going to slant the front a little bit. They're kind of an undersized group in the front 7, so maybe they're going to have to play with a little bit more of that with some angles and try and keep away from going toe to toe with people. But he even threw in some. I think he stole something from Mike Zimmer. He showed a double A gap blitz, which is something that Micah is really, really good at. When he can attack the center and attack the guard. Those are the things that he's good at, and we saw that yesterday. Even with Micah being in there, it's something I think that he's taking and he's just going to implement and see how it looks as part of his plan. So that's the kind of things you could get from watching practice with just the helmets and the jerseys.
Brian, we've heard a lot, and you and I have both been around for a while, and we know that sometimes we hear things in training camp that doesn't quite on Earth. He's been longer on Earth than I have. Well, then we hear things in training camp that doesn't kind of translate to the season. And the topic of discussion yesterday and the day before has been the motion, the offense not being static, and the offense moving around and having guys move around. Is this something that you believe that Shotty will take from training camp into the season and use it on a level of regularity for this Cowboys offense?
Yeah, I would hope so. We've seen some of the better teams in the National Football League offensively be able to use motion to their advantage, and especially when you can, and Jesse, you could explain this to your listeners too, is the ability they trade, like getting 12 personnel and trade. So they line up with the tight ends to one side, and then they trade the formation, and then as they make the move, and then they make another move behind that, so you have a trade and then a motion and then a motion and then another motion behind that. And so that's kind of some of the stuff that they were doing. Yesterday's wrinkle, if you want to say, was just to maybe give the quarterbacks a better understanding if man or zone. It was the back in the backfield motion out, then motion back to the spot. So first day was more trading and motion. Yesterday was more back motion where they were able just to kind of give the quarterbacks some read. You always hate that when they talk about, oh, we need to be this offense that's diverse and all that, and then they don't. They do the same damn things over and over and over again, and it doesn't affect them in any way. But hopefully with Schottenheimer, he's kind of looked at some teams in the offseason, the power running game teams. I think that's what this team's going to try and be with the use of Hunter Lipke, the use of Span Ford, the use of the multiple tight ends, the fullback. I think this team is going to try and be a little bit like that, more gap scheme, push on you, and then let the backs kind of make cuts off that. But these are all things they talked about, and at least in the first day and a little bit in the second day, we saw what they were going to work on.
So in that power running game, the two veteran running backs that they brought in, who are, my understanding at least is, and you can confirm, splitting kind of the first team reps, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Are you able to tell at this point if they could surprise us in terms of having more than what it's looked like they've had the last year or two?
Yeah, Sanders day one looked the best of the two. They had a blitz pickup situation yesterday where Williams was in the game and he saved Dak on a blitz pickup, and Dak was able to get the ball out. So that's kind of what I think Williams is going to be. But everything was talking about in the media portions of OTAs and mini camps were that Miles Sanders looks like he's got a little juice. And the first practice, when they were gap scheming this, and it was hard step, hip to hip, hard step, push, and then it was cut the backside off, and then there was that natural gap where that gap appeared. And then that's where I think that Miles Sanders was a little bit better than Williams when it came to, I mean, Deuce Vaughn had a couple of carries day one where he looked like, he hit it and then made the cut. So yeah, it's Miles Sanders looks like to me, he's the guy that's got that little bit of that uh, attack play side. And if it opens up, then he's able to make that play kind of going to the backside that way.
Broaddus, moving from schematics offensively, defensively, more to individualized players. And I know that it's early, but one of the guys that we will consistently focus on until we get a read. And again, I know it's no pads, but I've seen some clips where left tackle Tyler Guyton, where he's won some battles and some that, guys have gone right around him and gotten the backfield, to the quarterback. Where do you gauge Tyler Guyton being kind of in relative where he was a year ago and his progress? Does he look better? Does his feet look better? Is his hands in the right place? Is he moving, lateral movement, right? Like, is all of those things kind of in line for a player at that position to kind of look like, all right, cool, when we get the pads on, this is all going to come together for this kid?
Yeah, no, that's where, and you mentioned there's been some good reps for him. There was a bad rep where I mentioned the double A gap look, and it was Sanborn and Murray, and they attacked that, and what it did was it took Oso Digizua and made him play a wider technique than having to play over Guyton, and it gave Guyton a little bit of problems there. But for the most part, everything that you brought up with the balance, the foot movement, not leaning, playing with knee bend. We've seen that from Guyton. It's been encouraging from that aspect of, there was a time where Sam Williams tried to take him hard up the field, and he was able to sit down on Sam Williams and really stop Sam Williams' progress to the quarterback. But it was knee bend, hand placement, body position. He wasn't off balance in any particular way and stuff. So that part of it was very encouraging by what we've seen so far.
So you mentioned like who lines up where and schematically, like those are some of the things that we can learn. When they go with three wide receivers with the first team, is it clearly CD, Pickens, Tolbert? Is Jonathan Mingo in the mix? Or are they just running a bunch of receivers out there?
Yeah, it's been Tolbert is what it has. Tolbert had a couple of plays yesterday where they ran with comebacks with him that were pretty good. I mean, you see him driving off the ball. They're playing a lot of 3-by-1. Again, Jesse can explain this to all your listeners and stuff, what they're doing. And, and they're trying to put Pickens and Lamb, get him on the same side, and then they're throwing Tolbert over there and then throwing somebody opposite. whether it's tight end or something like that, but they're trying to kind of play that way. But Tolbert has been the guy primarily. Turpin had a nice play on a ball where he was making a catch down the field, was able to adjust. Mingo out of the slot made a play with Joe Milton throwing him the football, with Hall in coverage there. So yeah, but the primary, if they go with the 11 personnel stuff, it has been Tolbert, it has been Pickens, and it has been CeeDee Lamb.
Broaddus, one question from the chat. They want to know, Shotty spoke about and mentioned the Wildcat, right? And that will be some things that he'll be running. Do you kind of have a little bit of an inkling of who's going to be running the Wildcat? Is it going to be Turpin? Is it going to be CD?
I think it's Turpin. I think it's Turpin. I think it's going to be Turpin. Yeah, I do. Every time they hand Turpin the ball, it's a 6-yard gain. And he's got this ability to, for a smaller guy, he's able to attack, and he attacks quick. And my gut feeling is it's going to be him. I saw during the media portion of minicamp where they worked CeeDee Lamb in the backfield as well. They handed him the ball before, but I think your Wildcat quarterback's going to be Turpin.